Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a video to look at the everything cheat sheet. This cheat sheet is actually the work of a number of people. What we're going to do is we're going to acknowledge all the people who actually created the cheat sheet. The person who collected everything is the same alien, and also you can see each of the maps that was credited to each of the redditors who actually started and made this. So someone actually made the effort, this alien actually made the effort to collect everything into one. And what we're going to do is, let's look at a general view of what this is about. Then we'll go into each of those in detail, and I'll show you guys more resource and more information on specific parts as well. So starting from the left to the right, we're going to see the daily tasks, some of the mapping routes. This is the guide that started everything, I guess. So after that, we also have a boss farming route. You might have seen my farming routes. I was looking at this particular post before about farming different units. After that, what's really nice is we look into the resource that's required for talent upgrades and also for the special Traveler upgrade, which he has Amino and Geo currently, so he has 2 upgrade requirements. After that, you're going to see the talent rotations for different characters. I know you guys are a little small, we're going to zoom in each of those. After that, you have the weapon ascensions, and the guide actually shows which weapon is for which day and what material is needed for the weapons. Coming down over here, you can see the character data. What are the items that's needed to ascend each of the characters and what monster skill. And also there's more routes for farming. If you haven't seen our farming guide, I do have a few of the farming routes. This one is more comprehensive, but I think my one is more detailed. So I'll show you guys my guide as well. And next up there is the recipe unlocking. Where can you get those recipes from which window? And also on the far right hand side, they explain what the currencies are. Basically, what are the Genesis gems, what are the Primal gems, and how do you use the Fate intertwined, the Acquainted Fate, and what are the masterless items. Most of those are pretty common, but it's good to touch up on if you're not sure of those currencies. And finally, what are the characters for a special dish? Keep in mind, the special dish rate is pretty low. I tried over like 20 or 30 dishes, only got 1 or 2 of the special dish. So while cooking the normal dish, if you use the right character, you have a chance of getting a special dish for special effect. Now, if you haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so. Make sure you also turn the bell on for the latest news as I find more of them for us. You can see that we're really dedicated for Genshin Impact. We'll have builds, guides, tips, news, and events updates for everything that's Genshin Impact related. Over here, you can see the original post of the Reddit post, and if we come to the next part, we can go on to the image sharing center to see each of those things in detail. Now, if you want a close read on the Reddit post and also on the image sharing, what I'll do is I have those ready available in the description as well. What I'll also do is I'll find the collection of resources I found and post it on my Twitter as well. And after this cheat sheet, what I'm planning to show you guys the other information I also collected. So on top of that, I have a little more information, which, it also talks about the future characters and what materials you might want to collect for them, and also a few other things as well. So we'll go through those together. First up, we have the first part we talk about, the daily task. Basically, they prioritize on splitting resin and then doing daily commission, which is quite straightforward. Then the post maker actually talk about a few of the routes he went. I tried a few of those. Some of those was useful for me. Some of the other ones I wasn't too keen on it. So I tested those. I think this was the post that started people to make more posts similar to this one. Next up, we have the farming route guide. What you want to focus on is it's more focused on the bosses. You're going for the majors, you're going for the Ruin Guard, you're going for the Whopper Flower, and also, the other things. What's nice is that a lot of those bosses, if you come into the game and if you go to the boss hunting, it tells you where the bosses are, but sometimes those bosses are not indicated. This one shows all the boss. So if you're really looking for a particular one to kill, maybe for the majors, you can find a lot more using this map. What I found really helpful was the requirement of a month for each of the skills. The skill starts with the cost of, I think 2 was it, and then it goes up to 12. So what you want to do is you can see the amount required with the levels, and afterwards you can see what are required for each of your character. Keep in mind, this is a special talent showcase of the Travelers. The Travelers can be Amino and also can be Geo. What that means is they're going to require a lot more materials to unlock both of the skill sets. So this is a special case for the Traveler, but for each of the characters, the required amount of items for each of the level is more fixed. You can see you start with level 1 with a basic book, then you're going to, level 2 I mean, so you go to level 3 with a silver book, and eventually you go to the gold book with the next tier level. Keep in mind, 3 of the brown book goes into 1 silver and 3 silver goes into 1 gold. This gets us to prepare for whichever days, whichever things we want to find, and go further preparing for the next Ascension level. Follow from the special case for the Geo Traveler and the Amino Traveler, what we can see is the days and the types of the talent books and also the locations for the dungeons to farm. You can see if you have a particular character, let's say Klee, or maybe it's going to be Amber, if you want to get their character material, you can see that it's Monday and Thursdays. So this is quite useful because this is more visual, but as we go deeper into the game, you kind of remember for your characters. So both way works, and it's very nice to be more visually understanding where those characters goes, and also on Sunday you are able to get all the resource based in a mixture. So it's better to get them from Monday to Saturday this way. Similar to the character upgrade materials for Ascension, we can also see this particular guide for the weapons. You can see what weapons you're currently using and what are the days you can farm the weapon unlocking all the Ascension materials, and what are the locations. This is very nice, especially if you are planning to go into a weapon gacha in the future. You'd be like, okay, I need that 5-star item. What do I need to prepare for it? It's very nice to be planning, but if you already have the weapon, most of the time you would know which dungeon to go for. So this is very useful for preparing for new weapons, and let's say if you're going for a battle pass weapon, then you can look where to find the materials and prepare yourself for it. When you get a battle pass level 30, you can go for the weapon and unlock right away to maybe level 40, 50, 60 or 70. Next up, we have the character data. As you can see, the character data are positioned in such a way that we need to zoom in a little bit more. So what I did was, instead of using this character map, I found something that is quite similar, but instead of going with a line which requires to zoom in, this one is more visual. Keep in mind, this is more of a 3-part. The first part with all the current characters, but it doesn't have Klee, doesn't have the new characters. Come to the next picture, which I'll also post onto Reddit as well. So keep in mind, each of the posts are made by the original posters, of course. So credits to them for sure. So next up, you can see the clip image, and after that, you can see the new characters. So instead of having everything in one line, I found more resource in similar matter, but it's not kind of in one line. And of course, if you guys are looking into it, you can see the Redditor and also the poster who actually made this one possible on Reddit and Twitter. So very useful information over here. Next up, we have the farming routes that were shown in the cheat sheet. You can see the farming routes, and if you zoom in closely enough, you can see the patterns you show for getting onto the map. It is a little harder to follow, and previously when I was making my farm routes, I decided to go find the things I felt was useful, and I made a particular video on it. So if you check the pictures out, if you find it a little too difficult, I do recommend coming over to this particular farm route. I do have 12 farming routes as well for at least 300 loots in 30 minutes. So this is more targeted towards getting your things done in every day, and those are very straightforward. Those are the most density packs. And also coming back to the boss farming route, if you're farming for monster camps and also bosses, you can kind of combine the two and formulate your own boss farming and monster farming route. We have the special dishes for each of the characters. Those are pretty nice, but what you're going to see is, as you go into the game, before you cook the dish, the game will highlight over there as who is available to cook. It will start to ping over you. It's like a little visual thing to tell you there's someone that can cook a special dish. So if you have the recipes, you can try the character. What I tend to do is, unless it's a special dish like the Deluxe dish, which we'll have on the next guide, on the food cooking guide, which is perfect, unless it's that special dish, most of the time I don't use the special characters, rather I try to get more resource out of it. For example, Barbara and Jean gives you more 12% chance of doubling your items when you cook. So your choice between special dishes, which are about 1 in 10 chances or 10% chance, or you can go with Jean or someone who can give you more resource for cooking your food. So that is your choice as you go with the dishes. We'll also touch this in more detail on the next guide as well, which we go through the food tier list and also the best food for each type. And finally, I didn't want to go into too much detail with unlocking the recipes and what the currency is for. I think most of us would have gotten most of the recipes we can obtain. Just keep in mind guys, if you're missing a recipe, do check online over here with Genshin Impact fandom, and you can find all the recipes and where to find them. So this is a very useful site. And also there are recipes which are not purchasable in the shop until you reach a high adventure level. You can see the level requirement to be 20, 25, 30, 35 and 40. So some of the recipes are locked behind the adventure levels with the vendors as well. Now, if you're wondering where the vendors are, I do have a video perfect for that. So I was preparing for my food ingredients, and a lot of the vendors with the food ingredients can also sell recipes. So if you want to have a look, definitely check out our previous video yesterday about where the ingredients are and where the vendors are. To summarize this video, this is a very helpful and comprehensive cheat sheet which is very visual and very useful. What I'll be doing is I'll be posting all of the basic single pictures that I found to be on the Twitter. So this way, if you want the cheat sheet, you can see it over here as well. And also each of the single parts that I found can be found on Twitter as well. So this way you don't have to zoom in deeper for each of the parts. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips, and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with Genshin and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.